I'm Tiffany. Welcome to Towering TBR. Jennifer over at Jennifer Loves Books has tagged me in this tag. I will link her and her channel in the description below. This tag is all about big books that you've read or that you want to read. I'm going to give you 12 of each. Big books can be really intimidating, so if there are any of the books that I want to read that you would also like to buddy read, let me know down in the comments below. And if you like bookish videos, make sure to like and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. So, the longest book that I have read is Don Quixote, and this comes in at 990 pages. I had wanted to read this for such a long time, and I finally got around to it this year, and it was definitely worth all of the pages. It's really funny, and because it's so episodic, it was easy to read in small chunks at a time. I would definitely advise that if big books are intimidating, to break it down into manageable chunks. The second longest book that I've read is Dune by Frank Herbert, and that comes in at 894 pages. I really enjoyed the story, but there are definitely some really dry points. No pun intended. Oh, some of that was a bit of a slog, and I'm not sure if it was worth the page count. The third longest book I've read was David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. My husband gave me this very lovely edition that I am just super excited about. This comes in at 882 pages and focuses on a boy, David Copperfield, as he grows up and faces all sorts of hardships. This was definitely worth a read. The next one is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. And I've heard her called like a more modern Dickens. She's incredibly verbose. And this book was probably longer than it needed to be. Comes in at 864 pages, but I did enjoy it and would recommend it if it sounds interesting. A book I didn't like was Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. This comes in at 704 pages, and it's a time loop, which I love time loops. I love reliving your life type tropes. However, it was centered around World War II, and some of the choices just really didn't make sense to me. That was one that's not worth the page count. I won in a Goodreads giveaway, Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. This is a spooky gothic romance, and on paper it doesn't sound like something I would enjoy, but it turned out to be really good. I really enjoyed this. This comes in at 640 pages. Quite honestly, I wish it had been just a tad longer. I read Neil Gaiman's American Gods, which comes in at 635 pages. I love Neil Gaiman. I think he's an incredibly talented writer. This was just okay for me, though. There were a lot of storyline threads, and I kind of wish he would have focused more on one thing rather than trying to do so many things. East of Eden comes in at 601 pages, and this was absolutely worth the read. A 5-star book that I read earlier this year. It is exquisite, a family drama where we just get to be with the characters for pretty much their entire lifespan. And yes, absolutely love this one. These are not reviews, these are just the big books I've read, so I need to be quicker. All of the Expanse series are over 500 pages, but I picked the second one because it is the longest at 584 pages. This was intimidating to start, but once I started to know a lot of the characters, a lot of the world building, it was much less intimidating to pick up further books in the series. This is a great series. I am fixing to start book 7, and I am really excited about it. Would definitely recommend if you want an expansive space opera. Coming in at 582 pages is Blankets by Craig Thompson. This is a semi-autobiographical story of a boy who comes of age and really starts to question who he is, what he wants out of life, what he believes. This is a black and white graphic novel, and it is a little bit intimidating because it's so big, but there are pictures, so it's not as big, right? Coming in at 582 pages, The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. This was one of my favorite books of 2017, I think. We follow Cyril, and He is a gay man living in Ireland when it is illegal to be gay, and we follow pretty much his entire life. I really enjoyed this and would definitely recommend. The last book that I'm going to talk about that I have read is Sophie's Choice by William Styron. This comes in at 562 pages, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard that Sophie's Choice, it's used quite a bit in our modern day like pop culture. It's very sad and very tragic. But what I didn't know is there are very funny moments in this book as well. This is due for a reread. So, if you want to read this with me, let me know because I would buddy read it with someone in the future. So, those are the longest books that I have read. Now I'm going to tell you 12 books that are over 500 pages that I want to read. And if you've read any of these, let me know in the comments if you think they're worth the time. So, the longest book that I want to read, it is so heavy, comes in at a whopping 1,154 pages. This is a biography on Sylvia Plath. And oh boy, like this is very intimidating. But I remember reading poetry by Sylvia Plath in high school and really liking her. And she had some issues with mental health that I think will be really intriguing to learn about. I think she's a fascinating person, and I've only ever heard good things about this book. So, if anybody wants to buddy read it, let me know. The next longest book that I want to read is Lonesome Dove. This comes in at 960 pages. I actually had some booktube friends that read this earlier in the summer, but because it's so long, I couldn't fit it in my schedule. So I still need to read it. And it's a Western, but people have said that it really transcends genre because I don't really read Westerns, but I've heard this is really good and a really good character study, so I'm eager to pick it up. This next book is so long that they put it into 2 books. And this is The Far Pavilions by MMK. This comes in at 958 pages. This is a British and Indian epic story, and it just sounds fascinating to me. Another Indian epic story is Shantaram. This comes in at 956 pages. This is another one I've only heard good things about. The Crimson Petal and the White by Michelle Faber comes in at 922 pages. This is set in Victorian London and follows Sugar, a 19-year-old prostitute. I found that I really like reading about the Victorian period, and I've heard really great things about this one. Another book set in the Victorian period is Middlemarch by George Eliot. This comes in at 904 pages. Classics really didn't used to interest me, but I have been getting into them more and more lately. And I definitely want to pick up more classics by women. I feel like they're definitely underrepresented. Now for some newer books, I have The Love Songs of W.E. Du Bois by Honoré Fanon Jeffers. And I've, again, heard great things about this. It is 816 pages. On top of that, it is just a gorgeous book. So I'm looking forward to this one. The stack is getting a bit precarious now. The Instance at the Finger Post comes in at 735 pages. This is one of the first books that I bought due to booktubers talking about it, and I'm not 100% sure I'm still interested in it, but it is a historical mystery, and I will definitely give it a shot. I just don't have as high of hopes for this one. Barkskins by Annie Proulx is another one that I bought very early on when I started watching BookTube. This follows the logging, timber and fur trading jobs in the 1700s and focuses on diminishing resources. Another one I'm not 100% sure I will like, but I read her novella, Brokeback Mountain, and I really like her writing, so I will definitely give this a chance as well. If anyone's read this, let me know your thoughts on it, because on paper, it doesn't sound that interesting, but I've heard lots of good stuff about it. Got another nonfiction, And the Band Played On by Randy Shilts. This comes in at 672 pages and was written in 1987 at the height of the AIDS epidemic. I have really been interested in learning more about the AIDS epidemic and specific histories, and this was written by a man who himself died of AIDS. And I know that there are some inaccuracies that have been since proven false, but I think that this is still a really important piece of literature, and I really would like to get to it soon. 2 more. I've got Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is a chunky sci-fi coming in at 608 pages and deals with a first contact with aliens trope. I know that there are giant sentient spiders, which I am not a huge fan of spiders, but I'm hoping I will really enjoy this. I've heard Emily over at Books with Emily Fox rave about it, so definitely excited to get to this one soon. It's like Jenga. I'm trying to manage the stack. Okay. And the last one is A Fine Balance by Rohinton Mystery. This is another Indian epic that I am so excited for. And this is actually on my priority 2023 list. So this is the one that I'm most likely to get to first. This focuses on 4 friends living in India during 1975. And I've heard it is an amazing character study. I'm really excited for it. And if anybody wants to buddy read this one is likely to get done this year. So there you have it. I like big books and I cannot lie. I'm going to tag 3 people who I would be interested in seeing their answers. Sorry if they've been tagged before, but they have not, as of right now, done these tags yet. The first person I'm tagging is Heather over at Soggy Expat Book Nerd. She's currently doing Shorty September, so I think it'll be really interesting to see which big books she likes and wants to get to. I'm also going to tag Scott over at Gunpowder Plot and Fiction. He is a person I just recently subscribed to, and he and I have a lot of overlapping tastes, so I'm excited to see what he'll pick. And the last person I'm going to tag is Victoria over at What Victoria Read. She was an amazing readathon host for the Blue Team, and so I'm recently subscribed to her. And she and I have some overlapping interest as well, so I hope she does this so I can see what her answers are. Also, if you would like to do this tag and I haven't tagged you, just consider yourself tagged. But make sure to leave a link in the comments telling me that you're going to do it, or a link to the video if you've already done it. I'm very excited to see what books are worth it. Lastly, if you're interested in buddy reading any of these, let me know. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.